Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm Miss Kaylee, and I'm so happy that you came to Sabbath school today. How's your summer been? Is it hot? There's a lot of places right now. It is extremely hot. It's pretty hot here, but it's not as bad as it is out west, where it's way over 100. But it's been pretty warm here, and everybody's having to stay inside during the day because it's been so hot. But is it raining there? Is it snowing there? I don't think it'd be snowing. But if you live somewhere else, it might be snowing. Have you ever wondered how snow came to be? How the sun came to be? Have you ever wondered why is it spring and why is it summer and why is it winter? Have you ever wondered how are you created? How is your mom and dad created? Or how are your brothers and sisters created? Or how were the trees and the flowers and the bugs? Have you ever wondered how that came to be? I know I probably did as a kid, and there's lots of things that when I think about it, it's like, wow, that's really amazing. It's amazing that happened, and there's certain plants that are made special for certain bugs. That's part of how they get along and how they live and how they breed and have babies. There's certain animals that they only eat certain foods that grow where they live. And that's pretty amazing. It's not something that just happens by accident. So today, a bunch of my friends have got together and we're going to share with y'all lots of fun things. And we're going to go find out what Yahweh says in his word about how everything was created. We're going to start off with Mr. Wayne and Miss Melissa. They're going to open us up in prayer and in praise music to Yahweh and teach us a new song. And then Miss Susie is going to jump into Yahweh's word and tell us exactly how everything came to be.
Abba, we thank you so much for this beautiful day that you've made, and we thank you for the honor of being in your presence, and we pray that your presence would be with each one of the children listening and learning today, and that you would just open our eyes to what you would have us to see and to learn, and may we honor and please you in all that we say and do. We love you. Thank you. Pray this in Yeshua's precious name. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to start out with creation. So we have a song for you today about creation. And one of the things that we always think of when it comes to creation is that it was good, that the Father made a good place for us. And so today's song and theme will be creation and that it was good. Yes. Here we go.
Okay.
Shalom, boys and girls. My name is Susie, and I'm going to share with you today the miraculous story about how everything came to be. Now, when you paint a picture, what do you use? You might use a tool, a brush, or maybe a roller, or you can even use your hands. You need a canvas. You could use paper, cardboard, or fabric. Well, it says in the scriptures that Yah simply spoke. He created everything with his voice alone. He commands, and creation obeys. Before the creation of the world, Yeshua chose us in love to be holy and set apart. In the beginning, Yah created the heavens and the earth. The earth had no form, and darkness was on the face of the deep. The Ruach HaKodesh hovered over the surface of the water. Yah said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Yah saw that the light was good, and Yah divided the light from the darkness. Abba called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So there was evening and there was morning, one day. On day 2, Abba Yah said, "Let there be sky on the middle of the water. Let it divide the water from the water." Yah made the sky and divided the water under the sky from the water above the sky, and that's how it was. So there was evening and there was morning, a second day. On day 3, Yah said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered together into one place, and let dry land appear." And that's how it was. Yah called the dry land earth, and the water he called seas, and Yah saw that it was good. He also said, "Let the earth bring about grass, seed-producing plants, and fruit trees." Yum! Each yielding its own kind of seed-bearing fruit on the earth, and that's how it was. The earth obeyed and did exactly as Abba commanded, and he saw that it was good. So there was evening and there was morning, a third day. On day 4, Yah said, "Let there be lights in the dome of the sky to divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs, seasons, days and years, and let them give light to the world." And that's how it was. Yah made the 2 great lights, the larger light to rule the day and the smaller light to rule the night, and the stars. Yah put them in the dome of the sky to give light to the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. Abba saw that it was good. So there was evening and there was morning, a 4th day. On day 5, Yah said, "Let the waters swarm with swarms of creatures, and let birds fly above the earth in the sky." Yah created the great sea creatures and every living thing that creeps, so that the water swarmed with all kinds of them, and there was every kind of winged bird, and Yah saw that it was good. Then Yah blessed his creatures, saying, "Be fruitful, multiply, have babies, and fill the water of the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth." So there was evening and there was morning, a 5th day. On the 6th day, Yah said, "Let the earth bring forth each kind of living creature, each kind of livestock, crawling animal and wild animal." And that is how it was. Yah made each kind of wild beast, each kind of livestock, and every kind of animal that crawls along the ground. And Yah saw that it was good. Then Yah said, "Let us make humankind in our image, in the likeness of ourselves, and let them rule over all and every animal." So Yah created humankind in his own image. He created the man out of dust, and he breathed his very breath into him. And when he saw that the man was alone, he made a woman by causing the man to fall asleep. He carefully took a rib out of the man, closed him up, and fashioned his bride out of the rib. He brought her to the man, and he exclaimed,
"At last! This is bone from my bones and flesh from my flesh. She is to be called woman, because she was taken from me."
This is why a man is to leave his father and mother and stick to his wife when they marry, and they are to be one flesh. In the image of Yah he created him, male and female he created them. Their Abba blessed them. Yah said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, and every living creature that crawls on the earth." Then Yah said, "Here, throughout the whole earth I am giving you as food every seed-bearing plant, and every tree with seed-bearing fruit, and to every wild animal, bird in the air, and creature crawling on the earth, in which there is a living soul, I am giving as food every kind of green plant." And that is how it was. Yah saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So there was evening and there was morning, a sixth day. On the seventh day, Yah took a rest. Not that he needed to, but he gave an example of Shabbat, and blessed the day, made it holy and set apart. He did no work that day. And there you have it, the creation story, day 1 to day 7. Shalom.
Shalom. My name is Miss Lindsay, and my family and I live in Texas, USA. I'm here to teach this week's nature lesson in connection to Yahweh's 7 days of creation. Are you ready? Come on, let's go explore. Our wonderful Creator Yahweh created our world in 7 days, 6 days of hard work, and 1 day of Sabbath rest. Our Bible tells us in Genesis 1 and 2 that Yahweh created everything by speaking. On day 1, Yahweh created light by speaking the words, "Let there be light," and there was light. On day 2, Yahweh created the firmament, which he called heaven. On day 3, he created earth, sea, and vegetation. On day 4, he created the sun, moon, and stars. On day 5, he created the birds and the sea creatures. On day 6, he created land animals and humans. That's us. On day 7, he rested. The heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. Yahweh blessed the 7th day and sanctified it. The order of how he created our earth was just so beautiful. The Bible clearly tells us the creation of the universe, the solar system, and the earth was all around 6,000 years ago. We know that it's true based on Yahweh's own character. In Hebrews 6:13 it says, "Because he could swear by no one greater, he swore by himself." We find plenty of evidence for a 6,000-year-old earth in the earth's geology, which is the study of earth and how it works, in the earth's biology, which is the study of living organisms like plants and animals, and in the earth's paleontology, which is the study of fossils such as remains of plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, and single-celled living things that have been preserved in rock, and even in Earth's astronomy, which is the study of stars. Yahweh's word is all we need, but he does tell us that it's important to conduct scientific research to give reasons for what we believe, which is 1 Peter 3:15. This is our role as humans in taking care of the earth, as Adam was told to do so in Genesis 1:28. Genesis 1 makes it very clear that the days of creation were literal, just like the days of our week. The Hebrew word for day is yom, Y-O-M. Can you say yom? Very good. That was a good job. The Hebrew words for evening and morning always refer to those time periods of a literal day. And when yom is modified by a number in the Bible, it always means a literal 24-hour day. In Genesis 1:14, we are told that the sun, moon, and stars let us measure literal years, seasons, and days. The order of creation in Genesis 1 also indicates literal days. Now let's take a look at two of the oldest living organisms found on Earth. The oldest tree is the Great Basin Bristlecone Pine Tree in the White Mountains of California. And it is approximately 5,000 years old. Scientists calculate this age from counting the tree rings. The method may not be perfect, but it's the best we have for dating trees. And then we have the oldest reef called the Great Barrier Reef, located off the coast of Queensland, Australia, in the Coral Sea. Many different coral species live on this reef, and they grow at different rates, depending on how cold or warm the water is, how much salt is in the water, the turbulence, and the availability of food. Did you know that coral reefs grow best in warm water, which is 70 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, or 21 to 29 degrees Celsius? Even though both are around 5,000 years old, they are the two oldest living organisms we can find on Earth. It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's important to understand that from the perspective of observational science, no one can prove it absolutely the age of our universe. The only dating method that is absolutely reliable is a witness who doesn't lie, who has all the evidence, and who can reveal to us when the universe began. Do you know who I'm speaking of? That's right, Yahweh. He has given us a specific history, beginning with the 7 days of creation. Based on this history, the beginning was only about 6,000 years ago. Well, thank you for exploring with us. I hope you enjoyed learning about Yahweh's creation of nature. Until next time, Shalom.
That was pretty amazing. Did you realize that Yahweh literally just said, and then everything was? That's pretty amazing. Have you ever tried saying something to try to get somebody to do something? Maybe you've told your brother or your sister, hey, you need to go and get that and put it away. And they just look at you like you're crazy and they don't do it. For us humans, it's kind of hard to just say something and it happen. But did you know that Yeshua said that if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move over there, and it'll move? That's pretty amazing. And Yahweh, he's pretty amazing. He created all of these things by literally just saying it. Have you ever seen this thing where they take a sheet of metal or something flat and they put sand on it, and then they play music notes to it and it makes all these designs? It's called cymatics, and it's pretty interesting. One time I was really looking into it, and it makes all kind of beautiful designs in the sand, and when they change the music note, it makes a new design. And not only does it make a design, it makes the same design over and over, all in the sand. And then they change the music note, and they play it to it, and it makes a new design. And it's really, really, really cool. And I was looking at it and researching about it, and they were saying something that sounded really weird. They were saying that nothing on Earth, nothing here is solid. Nothing is really what it is. All it is sound. And at first I was like, what are they talking about? What in the world is this? And as I listened to them, and they were saying, we are in the shape that we are by the sound frequency or the sound waves that we are. And it sounds kind of crazy, but it was the same in the sand. When they played a certain music note, which is a sound frequency, it's a specific sound wave, and it's measurable. They can measure with different little gadgets what sound frequency that is. It will change its shape and its design. And I was kind of like, hey, that kind of makes sense, but at the same time, that's kind of out there. It's kind of crazy. And all of a sudden it hit me, and Elohim said, and it was. So that's literally what Yahweh did. He said, and then there we are. And that's what we are. We are made from sound, and we radiate sound. And I don't know if you know how sound waves work, but when we say something or something makes a sound, it literally makes waves through the air, just like ocean waves, but some are shaped real small, some are shaped up like this, and they travel through the air until they hit something. And so when we hear them, they literally go in our ears and hit our eardrums. And that's how we hear the sound. And that's why if we do something like put earplugs in, we can't hear that good or at all because it doesn't let the sound hit our eardrums. Or if somebody stands in the way and the other person's far away and they're trying to talk to you, you can't really hear, and so you'll turn your ear to them. It's so the sound goes straight into your ear. And so that's where the sound waves are. And when you have a specific sound frequency, that's how you get the different music notes, the different sounds that we hear. They're different. Some are high frequencies and some are low frequencies or real deep sounds. And some are real high-pitched, loud sounds. Not necessarily loud, but high-pitched sounds. And that's how, if you've ever seen a musician tuning their instrument, maybe somebody's tuning their guitar, or they're tuning the piano, or their clarinet, or whatever, when they know that it's in tune, it's the right frequency for that sound. And they'll have the little tuner, and they'll have the little thing on it that moves around. And when it gets to the right frequency, it stops. And that's how they get the right sounding note, so that their instrument plays really good and sounds really great when they're playing. So it was just really, really interesting to me how all these sound waves and these sound frequencies are all connected. We use them all the time. Every time you hear a song, every time you hear somebody bang a trash can, you are listening to a specific sound frequency, and it's traveling through the sound waves to get to your ears for you to hear it. And that's how Yahweh created everything. He spoke it, and it traveled through to whatever spot it needed to be, and it created what it was. And that's pretty awesome. So we have some more friends that have come together, and they're going to teach us even more things. And we got Miss Joanna. She's going to teach us some Hebrew, and Mr. Chris is going to teach us a history lesson. And then Miss Susie is going to come back and teach us another story, or tell us another story. And I'm sure there's going to be some more teaching in that too.
Aleph Bet and Gimmel Dalet Ayin Vav and Zayin Chet and Tet and Yod and Kaph Lamed Mem Nun Samek Ayin Ayin Tsade Qoph and Resh Sin and Shin and Tav. Aleph Bet and Gimmel Dalet Ayin Vav and Zayin Chet and Tet and Yod and Kaph Lamed Mem Nun Samek Ayin Ayin Tsade Qoph and Resh Sin and Shin and Tav.
Shalom, Mishpacha. This is your Havara Yohana, or Miss Joanna. I'm here with Bryn to present this week's Hebrew language lesson. Today we're going to learn how to say the names of the days of the week in Hebrew. This after our Bible story from the book of Genesis about the creation week. Genesis is the first book in the Bible. The Hebrew name of this book of Torah, or Torah, is Bereshith, which means beginning. The very first words in the book of Bereshith are, "In the beginning, Yahweh created the heavens and the earth." The scriptures tell us that Yahweh did all of his work of creating in 6 days, and on the 7th day, he rested from all of his work. Yahweh called the 7th day Shabbat, which means rest. The 7th day, or Shabbat, also referred to as Sabbath, is the only day in Hebrew that has an actual name. The rest of the days of the week are simply called by the number of that day in the week. So we have first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, and then Shabbat for the 7th day, the commanded day of rest. This is different than in English, where we have names for each of the days of the week: Sunday and Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday. Another difference between Hebrew and English is that Hebrew is written and read from right to left, while English is written and read from left to right. Now on to learning the Yamai HaShavua, or the days of the week in Hebrew. In Hebrew, the word used for day when speaking about the days of the week is yom, Y-O-M, yom. When saying each of the names of the days of the week in Hebrew, first we say yom, and then we add the number of that specific day. So, beginning with day 1 or first day, because that's the best place to start, we would say Yom Rishon. Yom Rishon. Now you repeat after me. Yom Rishon. Yom Rishon is the day that we call Sunday in English. Day 2 or second day in Hebrew is Yom Shani. Yom Shani. Now you try. Yom Shani. Yom Shani is the day that we call Monday in English. Day 3 or third day is Yom Slishi in Hebrew. Yom Slishi. Okay, it's your turn. You say Yom Slishi. Yom Slishi is the day that is called Tuesday in English. Day 4 or fourth day is Yom Revi'i. Yom Revi'i. Now you try. Yom Revi'i. Yom Revi'i is the day that is called Wednesday in English. Day 5 or fifth day, which is Thursday in English, is Yom Hamishi in Hebrew. That one's a bit longer and perhaps a little bit more difficult to say than the names of the other days of the week that we've learned so far. And the beginning sound is different than anything that we have in English. In English, the letters CH together are pronounced ch, ch, like when we say chicken. But the Hebrew letter chet, which is the 8th letter in the Aleph Bet or the Hebrew alphabet, which is sometimes written CH in the English alphabet, sounds like you're clearing your throat. Let's try the CH sound or the chet sound together. Now repeat after me. Yom Hamishi. Now you try it. Yom Hamishi. It's also acceptable to say Yom HaMishi. Yom HaMishi. If the CH chet sound is a little too difficult to begin with. But keep trying. You'll get the hang of it eventually. Day 6 or sixth day, which is Friday in English, is pretty simple to say in the Hebrew. It's pronounced Yom Shishi. Yom Shishi. Now you try. Yom Shishi. And finally, we come to the last day of the week, the 7th day, the weekly moed or appointed time, the day Abba commanded us to remember, observe, set apart, and rest from all of our work, just as he rested after his 6 days of creating the heavens and the earth and all that are contained therein. This is Shabbat. Sometimes this day is also called Yom Shabbat, or Day of Rest, or Rest Day. On Shabbat, it's customary to say Shabbat Shalom to our mishpacha, that is our family, and our chavarim, those are our friends. When we say Shabbat Shalom, we're saying Sabbath peace, but actually we're saying so much more. When we say Shabbat Shalom, it's like telling our mishpacha and our chavarim to have a restful, joyous, peaceful, and blessed day in the presence of Abba Yah. Mazel tov, or congratulations. You've just learned many new Hebrew words. The more you say them, the quicker you'll remember them, and the better you'll become at using them. So practice saying these Hebrew words throughout the week. Until next time, Shalom B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, or peace to you in the name of Yeshua Messiah.
Shabbat Shalom! Welcome to our history lesson. Today we will answer the question, what is the history of the 7 days of creation? In the story of creation, Yahweh begins with an earth formless and empty. The Spirit of Yahweh moved, and through that movement formed mighty mountains, deep valleys, rushing rivers, and vast oceans. By the time Yahweh got to man in the story of creation, he had formed a spectacular world of sights unseen. Man was placed in the world without any of the maps, like what we have today. Not only were there no maps, but there weren't any roads, and certainly no devices to tell you when you had arrived at your destination. Early man didn't get to be annoyed by a squeaky box saying, "You missed your turn," or recalculating, "Make a U-turn in 500 feet." Speaking of feet, man had to find out for himself what was over the next hill, under the water, and what might have lurked in the darkness of the forest. Man used all the talents Yahweh gave him to come up with ways to measure Yahweh's world. Early map makers came up with ways to measure the land to make maps. They didn't have paper and pencil, so they had to use their minds and their bodies to do the measuring and rocks to record what they did. The easiest form of measurement that early man used was walking on his own 2 feet. He would practice walking between 2 trees until he got good at getting the same number of steps each time that he made the trip between those 2 trees. This way he knew that if he counted out 30 steps, it would be the same distance no matter how many times he counted out his 30 steps. Our U.S. military still teaches this method today. It is called a pace count. Early man used his pace count to measure the distance from his home to other places like mountains and rivers, oceans, and other homes or towns. These places are known as landmarks. As man measured out these distances, he started to create paths, and for each of these paths he would come up with a name for that path. More and more paths were made so that it got too much for one person to remember all the paths. Eventually, man started to carve rocks into maps. The creation of maps is called cartography. Can you say that word with me? Cartography? Cartography is the making of maps. Cartographers are people who make maps and are still at it today. Cartographers measure and remeasure Yahweh's world, scribbling it down on pads of paper or, nowadays, their iPads. Back to our question though, what is the history of the 7 days of creation? Why did Yahweh feel it was important for Moshe to write it down and bring it back to the people of Israel? Yahweh wanted us to know that He existed before anything else, that He created everything, that without Him nothing exists, would exist, or will exist. This was important for us to know and understand. Without Yahweh, there would be no 7 days of creation. There would be no earth to measure, no sky to look upon, no rainbows to see. There would be no rivers or oceans, mountains, plants, or people. History is the telling of the big events that took place in the order that they happened. Without anything or anyone, there would be no history or story to tell. Yahweh created everything so we would have a story to tell. This story is a good story, This story is the story of us. This story was Yahweh's story to tell. Without His story, we wouldn't even have a history. Well, that's all I've got for today. Shalom, my little historians.
Shalom again, this is Susie. We just spoke about Yah's incredible creation. Do you like to go outside? My children do. Like all children, they sometimes get bored, and when they do, I try to encourage them to behold Yah's glorious creation. It says in Psalm 19 that the heavens declare the glory of Yah. Day after day they speak forth knowledge. Have you ever seen a beautiful sunrise? Or if not a sunrise, then perhaps you've seen a sunset? Well, a sunrise or a sunset can be so many beautiful colours. Oranges, reds, purples, pinks, golden hues, and it can depend where you're standing too. No sunrise or sunset looks quite the same to another person. Or if my children say they're bored, I tell them to consider the ant. Ants are such hard workers. They know when the rain is coming and are efficient to prepare. When you're next outside, lift up a sturdy rock and observe. Whose home is it? Are there roly-polies underneath? Or maybe a worm or two? Perhaps there's those ants preparing for the next season to come. When you go outside, do you make sure you're prepared? Perhaps you need an extra sweater if it's cold, or maybe your rain boots if there's big muddy puddles. Preparation is very important so we can be ready for whatever season we're in. Yeshua tells us to look to the sparrows, the birds of the sky, and consider how they do not gather, and yet Yah feeds them. Are we not worth so much more than the birds? Whilst we are to take note of being prepared as the ant, ultimately we must trust and love our Abba, who cares for us so. Our preparation works together with Yah's providence. And what about flowers? So beautiful and fragrant. My girls love to pick flowers and make bouquets. Yeshua also tells us that these stunning flowers of the field do not work, and yet King Solomon, the wisest ruler on earth, was not as finely clothed as one of those. Yah will clothe us. He will provide all that we need for today, from our food, our clothing, patience for our brothers and sisters, kindness towards our siblings, as we prepare ourselves by doing good works because He loves us. Well, the book today is called All Things Bright and Beautiful. It's a wonderful hymn written by Cecil Alexander, and it's all about beholding Yah's nature and seeing His splendour, His beauty through His own creation. Let's begin. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. All things wise and wonderful, Adonai made them all. Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings. He made their glowing colours, He made their tiny wings. The purple-headed mountain, the river running by. the sunset and the morning that brightens up the sky. The cold wind in the winter, the pleasant summer sun. The ripe fruits in the garden, he made them every one. The tall trees by the green wood, the meadows where we play. The rushes by the water we gather every day. He gave us eyes to see them and lips that we might tell. How great is El Shaddai, who has made all things well. Well, this concludes our reading of All Things Bright and Beautiful. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. It's one of my favourite hymns. At the very end of the book, there is sheet music to the hymn. So if you're musical and play an instrument, or perhaps one of your parents does, you can play along with the words. Shalom, boys and girls. Until next time.
Thank you, Miss Joanna, and thank you, Mr. Chris. That was some awesome information. I hope y'all have a great Yom. And thank you, Miss Susie, for the extra story. We really appreciate that. So did y'all learn anything from the Hebrew lesson and the history lesson and from Miss Susie's story? I hope you did. Well, we are about to go into a hands-on project. So we have Miss Ashley is going to lead us in another song. Miss Angelica is going to do a craft with us. In the description of this video, there is a list of the supplies that you'll need for the craft. So get your mom and dad and come look at it and figure out what you need if y'all have it. And join us. We'll also have a section on our website, and there'll be a link in the description you can click on, and you can go and share a picture of your craft that you've done and share it with us. We'd love to see it. Or if you'd like to do something else, color something else, paint something, whatever creativity you want to do, build something that has something to do with creation, we'd love to see it, and I can't wait to see it.
Ready?
Ready?
Yahweh created night and day, night and day. That was on the first day, that was on the first day. It was good, it was good. Yahweh created the sky and the clouds, the sky and the clouds. That was on the second day, that was on the second day. It was good, it was good. Yahweh created the land and the plants, the land and the plants. That was on the third day, that was on the third day. It was good, it was good. Yahweh created the sun, the moon, and the stars, the sun, the moon, and the stars. That was on the fourth day, that was on the fourth day. It was good, it was good. Yahweh created the fish and the birds, the fish and the birds. creatures and the man. That was on the sixth day, that was on the sixth day. It was good, it was good. Yahweh rested on the seventh day, on the seventh day. The seventh day's the Sabbath, the seventh day's the Sabbath. It is good, it is good.
Yay! Hello, and thank you all so much for being here. My name is Bethany, and I will be sharing our memory verse this week. It comes out of Bereshith 2:7. And Yahweh Elohim formed the man out of dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostrils breath of lives, and the man became a living being. As children of Yahweh, we want to share Yahweh's love with the world, and some of the best ways to do that is by creating kindness. There is no better way to create kindness than with the breath that Yahweh gave us. Just as Yahweh breathed life into us, we can breathe life too. No, we cannot speak a word and bring something to life, like Yahweh did with us. Our words can be powerful though. We can use our words every day to show others Yahweh's love. How can you create life? Number 1 is praising Yahweh. When we praise Yahweh out loud, we can encourage others to do the same. Number 2 is to always speak kindly to those around you, whether it is using good manners to our parents or thanking a stranger for holding a door open. Using kind words will show love to anyone. Number 3 is praying for others. When we lift our friends and family up in prayer, we are asking and believing that Yahweh will give them healing or comfort. Just as we know that Yahweh is the creator of life, we also know that he can provide healing and comfort. Number 4 is simply smiling. It takes no effort to bring joy to anyone with just a smile. And number 5 is to do all things in love. When we love others, we are creating life and joy in others, and it makes us feel joyful too. Another great scripture is Mishle 16:24. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweet to the being and healing to the bones. So let's read our memory verse one more time. And Yahweh Elohim formed the man out of dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostrils breath of lives, and the man became a living being. So this week and every week, let's remember to speak life, build up, and choose kind. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Angelica, and my family and I live in Alaska. Today for our craft, we're going to be making these Days of Creation painted rocks. And now some of you might not have the materials to do painted rocks, and that's totally alright. You can use paper and markers or colored pencils, whatever it is that you have available. I've also included a resource in case your child would prefer to just color. So let's get started. So for painting rocks, you're going to want 7 flat rocks and paint, or in my case, I'm using paint pens. And if you don't have paint pens, that's totally fine. You can just use regular paint. Any paint should work as long as it's not getting wet. And you probably want a paper towel and water if you're using regular paint. And make sure that you cover your work surface so it'll make cleanup way easier. And again, if you don't have these materials, you can just use regular paper and colored pencils, markers, crayons, whatever it is that you have available. So on day 1, we have darkness and light. And I'm going to be using a Sharpie. And so darkness and light is pretty straightforward. I am going to just divide my rock in half. And I'm going to color in one side black. And on the other side, again, if you're doing paper, you can just leave the other side light if you'd like. The sun was not made until day 4, so I'm not going to draw a sun, but instead I am going to just lighten this side of my rock up. And on the back, just so that I don't forget which day this was, I am going to write day 1, and I am going to label it darkness and light for day 1.
And I focused my camera, so hopefully you guys can see that a little bit better. Day 1, darkness and light. And there's my darkness and light. On day 2, we have sky and water. So for my water, I'm just gonna draw some waves. I'm gonna have my puffy white cloud. My water doesn't look very blue, so this might be where paint actually will work better. There we go, it's a little better. And then again on the back, I'm going to label it day 2. And I am going to write sky and water. For day 3, we have land and plants. And so you can do this however you'd like. Be creative. And have my land. And maybe you don't want to have your land be brown. Maybe you want your land to be green because he also created grass. So there's my land. And maybe you still want to have the ocean in there or the water. And then plants. Or maybe you want to have a tree. Or maybe you just want to draw one big plant. Maybe you just want to draw flowers instead. And again on the back, I'm just going to write what day. And that was day 3. I'm going to write land and plants. Now on day 4, we have the sun, moon, and stars. So I'm going to draw my sun. And then my moon. And then my stars. And then on the back again, I'm going to write what the day was. And that was day 4. And that is sun, moon, and stars. On day 5, we had birds and fish. So this one might be a little tougher. You might want to ask your parents for help. But for mine, I'm going to draw the water. And inside the water, I'm going to draw my fish. And then in the sky, probably the easiest bird. Day 5. Birds and fish. On day 6, we had animals and people. And so for animals, it would be fun maybe if you wanted to draw your favorite animal on here. So I'm going to draw a little lamb. And again, you can draw whichever animal you would like, whatever is easiest. And then for my people, I'm just going to add them, but you can draw whatever kind of person you can draw. Even if it's a stick person, whichever. And again on the back, I'm going to write what day. So day 6. Animals and people. And then on our last day, day 7, we rest because Yahweh rested. And now I like taking a Shabbat nap. So for resting, I'm going to draw some Z's. Maybe you want to draw a pillow, and I'm just going to write rest. We all rest in different ways. Again on the back, I'm going to right rest.
Hi again, this is Susie, and this is a picture of me. Well, we had a lot of fun today, learning all sorts of things about Abba's creation. You know, he also created prayer, a way for us to talk to him and share things with him. Things that maybe worry us, or we're feeling fearful about. Things that we're happy about that make our hearts full of joy. Or we can tell him about things we're hoping for. We can also pray for others, anyone who is sick or concerned, or anyone who is happy as we partake in their joy. We can pray for those who we're close to, our family or our friends. We can also pray for those who we may not know really well, who we've heard about or read about. We can pray for those close by who live on our street, or we can pray for those who live many, many miles away, even in a different country, maybe even speaking a different language. Now, it's true that Yah knows all about us, but just like a dear friend, he longs to hear our voices and about our lives, the lives that we're living for him and his glory alone. You can talk to him anywhere at any time, in your room alone at night, or holding hands with your family at breakfast, or when you're at a playground, making friends. You can talk to him in your mind, so no one can hear you, or you can talk to him out loud. He loves you, and he hears you. Abba Yah, thank you so much for this time together, that we got to learn and behold your incredible creation through craft, a new language and stories, that we got to lift our voices together and praise you. We thank you for creating us, knitting us together in our mama's womb. We ask that you would bless the children watching this right now, that you would bless their week and their lives. Help them to be mindful to find you and your character in your creation. Until we meet again, in Yeshua's name I pray.